afternoon, sir.
Where are you going, Pooja?
To get water, sir.
What did you do in the lunch break? Today we have an important topic to discuss. Go and come back quickly.
Okay, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, all. Hope you are sitting as per your teams.
Yes, sir.
In the last class, we discussed SWOT analysis. Hope you guys remember. And we have taken an assignment also after that topic. Can anybody tell me what do you mean by SWOT? Alekhya, can you do it for me?
So it is a tool to identify strengths, weakness, opportunities and threats.
Very good, Alekhya. Praneeth, what was the result of your SWOT analysis?
My strengths are being optimistic and having go-getter attitude. I prefer working individually. My weakness is I have to improve in working with the teams. My opportunities are planning to have a research on global marketing practices. I have to take exam to do research in Glassmark. My threats are not having a complete awareness and my career options.
Good, Praneeth. Hope everyone is done with SWOT analysis.
Yes, sir.
Today's topic is building an effective resume. By the end of this class, everyone here will have a resume developed by themselves. Last class, I told you to bring a copy of resume which is built by you in your graduation. Hope everyone got the hard copy.
Sir, I did not get the hard copy, sir. I stay in hostel.
I too, sir.
Pratiksha and Likita, do you have a soft copy in your mail?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, download it in your mobiles and you can edit it there. Can anybody define what is a resume? Yes, Shravant.
So, it's a formal document which holds a summary of academic and professional information.
Very good, Shravant. Resume is your first marketing tool. It shows the interviewer what knowledge you have, what skills you possess, and what abilities you gain. It serves as a first impression.
Sir, it means who we are, what we have done and why company should hire us. Is it that what you mean, sir?
Exactly, Mahati. It is you on a paper. Can anybody tell me where and how it is useful?
Sir, not just only for jobs, but it can also be used in any professional environment like business proposal meeting, research interviews, etc., where we need to project our past work.
Very good, Konen.
May I come in, sir?
Pooja, this is why we tell you should not go out of the class when it starts. See, now you missed very important discussion about today's topic. Okay, go and sit with your team. They'll explain what we discussed till now.
Sir, I have a doubt. Will I definitely get a job if I prepare an effective resume?
Not exactly, but a good resume will provide enough information to the interviewer about the applicant so that he can make a judgment whether the candidate is worth interviewing or not. Based on that, interviewer will make a discussion with you on the content you provided on the resume to decide whether the information is true or not.
Sir, can't I go to interview without a resume?
Not like that, Likita. But if you don't carry a resume to the interview room, just think, even before interviewer looks at you, he is looking at your resume, which means before you talk to the interviewer, your resume is talking to him. So that is where we are losing the opportunity to create that first impression. So not just because it is a document and you are submitting it, but if you can make an effective resume, if you can build it properly, plan it properly, it will speak first to the interviewer, and that helps the interviewer to start the interview in a positive note. If the resume is good, he will start the interview on a positive note because you meet all the expectations. You presented all the expectations on a paper properly. Assume that it is not effective, it is not effectively planned, then you will miss the chance to create that first impression. So that's what happens if you don't present a resume.
Sir, it means the content on the resume is relevant to the interviewer's expectation. Then the interviewer will wait for us with a positive hope. Otherwise, the interviewer may not be so excited to meet us. Then we may lose the first opportunity to create a very good first impression, right?
Yes, Kalyani. That's why I told you cannot make your first impression second time.
Sir, what is the difference between CV and resume?
A resume is a brief description of academic and professional information, whereas a curriculum vitae is a detailed description. So they vary with respect to length and the way a point is projected. In CV, it will be in detail, and in a resume, it will be brief, a gist of points. So that is a main difference between resume and CV, and that's the reason why they vary in terms of length. So comparatively, resume will be shorter than a CV. So a resume will be 1 or 2 pages most of the times, whereas curriculum vitae might exceed this number. And culturally, means usage wise, also there is a difference, but we are from a non-English speaking nation, so that doesn't make much difference to us. So whatever the company may ask, whether a CV or a resume, we give the same document. But this is the reason behind it.
How they are different from biodata, sir?
How biodata is different from a resume and CV? Biodata only have a personal information like date of birth, maybe family details, nationality, gender. So these comes under personal information. Whereas CV and resume is only professional, and because you are freshers, it also has academic information. So that's the main difference. Praveen, tell me what can define you well on your resume.
Yes, sir. Our contact information, education qualification, skill, achievements, project, and anything which will be productive and it might fetch scope for us and discussion in an interview.
And all that what increases your chances of getting a job. Is it clear?
Sir, what can I mention as my contact information?
Your valid email ID, your personal mobile number, and if you update any professional networking sites like LinkedIn, you can also provide that information, but you can do it only if you update your latest information on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is like resume online. So it's a good habit. That is one way to reach the companies which don't visit our college. So you can also have that habit. And valid email ID, so that they will communicate. Company will do any communication to you through that email. Mobile number, sometimes they may conduct telephonic interviews, and sometimes they may have some doubt in the middle of recruitment process, so they may approach you to your mobile.
Sir, is there any particular format to be followed in preparing a resume?
There is no fixed format as such, Pranit. Like no two students are same, so no two formats will be same, no two resumes will be same. But anyway, I will provide you with some basic things what are mandatory to have on every resume. Anyway, we are going to take up a task immediately, but it depends on what is your comfort zone. Only then we will understand what to project, what to write, and what not to.
Sir, what do you mean by comfort zone?
Your comfort zone means what all you are good at comes under your comfort zone. So that is what we are going to take up as a task now. All of you open your resumes, which you already have, and do all the inclusions. Means update your resume as per the current details, whatever you procured after your graduation, add all the relevant details. As you are anyway sitting with your teams, I request team leaders to ensure that all your team members will finish this task in 15 minutes. Okay, if you are done with the activity, if you have any doubts, you can just ask.
So my resume has career objective. Is it okay?
What is the significance actually?
You can mention anything what you can speak about, but this career objective is a line which is your immediate professional goal in one sentence. That means that should tell the interviewer why you are taking up that job. To get the justification, if interviewer reads that line, so to believe in you, he may ask some follow-up questions. Why this profession, why this job, why this company, something like that. But it is in one line, you are telling why that job is suitable to you. But you are presenting it as your career goal. So this line career objective should define what is the commonness, what is the overlapping between company's requirements and your skill set. So it speaks of this common area.
Sir, my goal is to become an IAS officer. Can I write that as my career objective?
That's the worst thing you can do, Tej, because the moment interviewer understands that you have alternate career as your option, then irrespective of your performance and your skill set, company might not hire you because you are not guaranteeing them a long-term relationship. So never do that in an interview.
Why, sir?
Do you have a girlfriend, Tej?
Yes, sir, he has a girlfriend.
Did you promise a lifetime commitment, or you said you may go to other priorities? I'm sorry, I was just kidding. I was just using that situation as an analogy to explain this concept better. But just show me what you wrote.
To apply for a position where my skills can be developed, I wish to refine my knowledge in finance and management.
Okay, there are two corrections, Utej. First is, you said you want to develop your skills. So, develop your skills is a wrong usage. And second thing, you said my skills, but you did not mention what are that skills. That is one thing. And second thing is, you said what you are getting from job, but you did not say what you can contribute. So, it should be in a contribution sense. It's not about what you gain from the job. So, that sentence can be corrected.
Financial accounting and reporting.
If this is what you wrote, Utej, to apply for a position where my skills can be developed, I wish to refine my knowledge in the area of finance and management. So instead, let us rewrite it like this. Being good at financial accounting and reporting, which you just named as your skill, would like to work as finance manager in an esteemed organization. So this job title may change, but the skill and the domain will not change. So what we have done, we have just refined what you wrote from it was candidate centric. Now this is company requirement centric. So that is a small change what we made to what you wrote. So I suggest you to go with this.
Sir, how many skills I can write on my resume?
It is not about how many skills, Mahita. It is about whatever you mention, you should be proficient with that. So that is more important. Just to fancy your chances, you mention a list of skills and you could not answer it when interviewer picks a discussion from it, that is wrong. But you mention, at least if you mention 2, if you are proficient with that 2, then that is enough. Just by increasing the number of skills on resume, that will not guarantee you job. No. Okay?
So we should be confident about what we mention in our resume because it will be an initiation for the technical interviewer. Sir, what else technical interviewer will focus on?
A technical interviewer mainly focus on your knowledge, skills and your abilities. Every interviewer know what they want from a candidate, but every interviewer likes to discuss from candidate's comfort zone. Only when you fail to give technical interviewer some questions, they will start thinking what they can ask as per their requirements. So before that happens, you should convey what you are good at. And what happens when you convey what you are good at, they will become questions to the interviewer. That concept or topic or subject what you said about will become a discussion if you can present it well, if you communicated it well to the interviewer. You have to excite the interviewer. The way you discuss the technical information, whatever it should excite the interviewer to ask some questions. So when you can excite the interviewer to ask questions from the information what you gave, then you are half successful. Because you invited interviewer onto your comfort zone. So you can speak about your knowledge, you can speak about what you are good at, what skills you have, and your abilities, which are domain specific. If you are a marketing student, then your knowledge will be different, your requirement will be different. So based on that, you have to frame your knowledge, skills, and abilities. Then interviewers, technical interviewers especially, will be very, very excited to listen to your projects, because project is a practical application of our theoretical knowledge. So they will listen very keenly when you discuss projects. And best part about projects is most of the questions asked will not have specific answers. You can give generic answers, like they ask you question to know what you did as a part of your project, but they might not know, sometimes they might not know what you did, or what methodologies you followed, what techniques you followed, what software you used for your project. So when they are listening to your project, they will not be in a judgmental mode. That is very, very important. And that's why you have to present your project very well. And this is one way of doing it, based on your project, based on what domain your project is. The presentation might change, but one generic presentation, you have to write title. I suggest, instead of writing a very big paragraph about a project, because no interviewer will spend a lot of time reading what you wrote as a big paragraph, that will not excite him. But if you can write it in bullet points, then there is a fair chance that he may quickly go through what you wrote. And again, that might any point might become a question to you. So this presentation also is very important. So first, title you are writing, and you will write the domain means what subject, as a part of what subject, or from what subject you have taken a problem statement, that becomes your domain. Methodology, what methodology you are applying to do that project, to solve that problem. And if it is a finished project, you can write what is the outcome. And if it is project in process, you can write what is the objective you framed. If you are done with the project, and you think in the time given to you, you could not finish it. For example, there is a lot of scope beyond what work you did, then you can also mention future scope. Someone who wrote future scope, uh, that will give very good impact to the interviewer, because not everyone can write the future scope of a project. Someone who understands a project to the depth, only they can mention what is the future scope. So it is always positive to mention future scope. And if you have done any internships as a part of your academics, then you can mention what organization you did, what role you have taken there. If it is relevant, they will ask. For freshers, for a student, internship is like field experience. So if you applied for a marketing role, and you worked as a intern in some organization in the marketing specialization, then that would become a question to technical interviewer. He might ask what you did in that company, what was your role, what was the duration and all, and what roles and responsibilities. Very briefly, you can write roles and responsibilities. If it is beyond 20 days, 3 weeks, then you can mention duration also. Then if you are good at any subjects, you can mention the subjects. They will pick the questions from that subject. And if you are aware of any latest trends in the technologies, what the company is interested in the fields what company is working on, you can speak of all those updates. Even that will excite the interviewer. So these are few things which a technical interviewer will focus on.
Sir, would you mind if I take a 5-minute break? I have an important call to attend.
Talha, is it more important than class?
Actually, sir, I applied for a summer internship with S&P Capital IQ, and this is an interview call.
Okay, best of luck. Please carry on.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, can I write achievements from my schooling or intermediate?
Yes, Sarika, you can write achievements from your schooling also, because achievements are not time bound. So if you think you have a scalable achievements from your schooling, also you can mention.
Say in what order I should write these fields, sir?
There is no particular order or there is no mandatory fields. It is your priority. What you want to highlight, if you can prioritize the order of headings on your resume accordingly, then it is your comfort, because again, as I told you, no two students are different, so their priorities also will be different. The things they want to highlight in an interview also will be different. So there is no mandatory flow of headings as such.
Can I write a personal information, sir?
No, as I told you, there is no mandatory Taniyat, but you can prioritize. If you know why you are mentioning what you are mentioning, then that serves your purpose. So in personal information, if you want to mention your father's name, father's occupation, postal address or date of birth, such things I don't think will do anything to an interviewer. So if you can avoid such things, and what to include, for example, if a company is visiting from Chennai and if you know Tamil, by mentioning in known languages, if you mention Tamil also, then that would serve a purpose. If you know more than 3 languages also, that would be a value addition. And other thing is, for example, if you have passport, then you can mention your passport availability. So such things, if you think they add value to your profile, then you can. But unnecessarily adding more personal information will it's like you're only investing a lot of space on your resume on something which may be of less use to you in the interviewer, or which might make a less sense to the interviewer. So we suggest avoid such boring stuff, but include. If you think something is going to make some sense, then definitely you can add it.
Sir, I found a mobile application in my phone. If I just dump my information and I can get a copy, then why should I worry about preparing a resume?
Yeah, that is very important question, Pranaya. These days, actually, we are seeing a lot of mobile applications where you just dump your information and you get a predefined formatted resume. That is not good, because one problem with that is a few headings on a predefined format may not suit you. That is first difference. And second thing is, all what you can download is a PDF. So if you want to include something also, it will become difficult. So, and every time you want to change a small thing on your resume, because most of the times they are trial versions, every time you have to start from the pin again, from A. Again you have to keep on dumping the information. So that is one problem why we suggest not to go for such things. And the order of headings also will not be as per your requirement. So please don't prefer such things. A resume prepared by you will be more effective than you downloaded or copied from somewhere. So I suggest you not to go for such things. If you prepare your resume, then you will remember everything about it and you can talk about it. Clear?
Any other important things, sir?
Let us review the entire class, what we discussed. So we started with defining what a resume is. So a resume is a formal document that lists a job applicant's education, skills, knowledge, and abilities. It provides a brief summary of an applicant's qualification for a particular job. So we stressed upon why we call this as a brief summary, when we differentiated it with a curriculum vitae. A good resume gives the potential employer enough information to believe that the applicant is worth interviewing. So when one of the students asked a question, what happens if we don't carry a resume, and someone asked, just because we create a very good resume, we build a very good resume, so will we 100% get a job? No, it is not like that. But an effective resume will become one of the reasons for selecting you if remaining things go well with you. At the same time, when they want to reject you, it may not be a complete reason, but it becomes one of the reasons why they reject you. So it's like a double-edged sword. So having an effective resume will create a very good first impression about you. Preparing an effective resume will lessen the burden of interviewer to find questions. We discussed you are not just giving a resume, you are indirectly giving the interviewer questions. Why we are saying this? Whatever the relevant information interviewer find on a resume will come to you as a question. And giving questions to the interviewer is very, very important to you. When we fail to do so, interviewer might start a discussion from their comfort zone, means their expertise, that may be or may not be your comfort zone. So it is very important for you to provide enough information to the interviewer so that he finds some questions, some relevant discussion from your resume. And when you start the discussion from your comfort zone, then the chances of you performing well will be more comparatively. And we also discussed about the importance of creating the first best impression. When we made a statement, first impression cannot be made second time. So even before you go into the interview room, your resume is going in. Even before interviewer see you, he is looking at the resume. So he will definitely come to a positive conclusion if your resume is very much relevant to their expectations. And then the interview might start with on a positive note, which will definitely stimulate your chances of getting selected. And the difference between resume, curriculum vitae and biodata, we discussed there is cultural difference to this definition, but technically a resume is a brief summary, a cut short crisp summary of your skills and other relevant information, whereas a CV is a more detailed description of your information. So when CV is a detailed description, definitely CV and resume will vary with respect to length. And when we compare these two things with biodata, biodata only has personal information, so it may not be used in a professional environment or a formal environment. CV and resume are formal documents which will be used in professional and work environments. Resume is always work under progress. Yes, remember that in your graduation also you might have prepared a resume, but that is not the end of it. Now in the meantime you might have acquired skills which can be projected on a resume, which will become a very good value add when you go to a interview. So those things should be added. Tomorrow you may gain few more achievements, few more certifications, few more learnings. So they also should be added to the resume. If needed, you will replace the old things with your updated knowledge. So that's why resume building is always a work under progress. It is never finished work. Carry an editable format of resume in your mail so that you need not search for it next time, and you can make appropriate changes whenever you need. Yes, this is very important. For you to attend some interviews, sometimes you have to travel to the company location or to different colleges during off campus drives or referral drives. So every time carrying a hard copy may not be possible. So it is very important for you to carry a soft copy in your mail or in your drive or in your uh, portable devices like pen drives. And one more advantage with this is, if you have any additions to do, you can change it wherever you have to do. For example, you can use Google Docs tool to edit the existing resume. If you want to add a point, you can do it. If you want to delete a point, you can do it. If you want to make changes to the existing content, you can do it. So you can change the things on resume as per the requirement of companies. So it is very important for you to have an editable format always available in your mail and in your drives. And but remember, as we take final printouts in PDF format, you also have to take a final printout in PDF. It is suggestible because if you edit the doc file in your PC, and if you try to take a printout in from some other system, like from any shop, so what happens is, there the printer settings or word settings or font may be different, so all your work goes waste. You might have done a lot of things on your resume, but if the settings are not the same, then the new system will not keep the things same. So that's why we suggest you have to save a document as a PDF before taking a printout. It is always safe to carry a document as a PDF because it will not differ from system to system. That is advice from our side. And regarding the format of resume, yeah, remember, there is no thumb rule to prepare a resume. There is no fixed format as such. There is no fixed font as such. There is no fixed rules. Like there is lot of discussion happening outside that can I have a photograph or not. Someone says yes you can. Someone says no it is not. So there is always a debate happening. But remember, everything whatever we have on a resume should have a meaning, should have a sense. So if you think yes, adding a photo will add value to my resume, then definitely you will do that. So whatever you are adding, whatever the font you are using, whatever the setting you are changing, so it depends on whether it is adding any value to your profile and yourself in the interview. So that should play a key role than any priorities. And here itself I would like to suggest, there are some mobile applications where you just dump your information and you will get a predefined copy of a resume printout. We suggest you to avoid such things because in the last minute, if you want to make changes, you cannot do it. One, and most of the times you use trial versions. So if you want to get a second copy, you have to start the procedure from step one again, which consumes your time in the last minute. If you have an interview in 1 day or 2 days, that will consume a big amount of time. Again, that is not suggestible. And few headings or few things which you don't want on your resume, just because they are predefined in that format, you will go with. So that may also decrease the effectiveness of a resume. So that's why we suggest, please don't depend on such apps or any other random websites. And yeah, one more thing is, because you only can download PDF, yeah, as I said, you cannot change it. So and while writing a resume, please start every sentence with an action verb, because as we discussed, it is a brief description, not a detailed description. You write anything, a sentence should start with an action verb. Like, you need not write in every sentence I participated, I coordinated, I presented. You can just start a sentence with participated in a paper presentation. So a sentence will start from participated itself. So this is one more suggestion. Then maintain uniformity in all headings and font. So we have seen some resumes where they fail is for some headings they use underlines, for some headings they write in capital, for some headings they write in title case, for some they bold. On the same resume they do these multiple things which decreases the effectiveness again of the resume, of look wise effectiveness of a resume, and that shows that you are not very conscious while preparing a resume. So let us not give any such chance to the interviewer. And font also try to keep them uniform. In all formal documents generally we follow Times New Roman with 12 size, but there are few other fonts also, Verdana and Calibri, such which are used in book antiquity, which are used in formal communications. So any eye pleasing font uh, you are suggested to use, but don't fancy your chances just because some font is very cursive or something like that. We suggest not to go for such things because that make your resume look less formal. And do not cramp too much information in a single page. Yes, pages are not a constraint. No one says, even if someone says should be only one page resume, even that is wrong. 2 pages resume is right, even that is wrong. The size of a resume should be decided by the content you have. And just because someone suggested you that you should have only 1 page resume, don't cramp too much information. But if it comes in 1 page, it is very good. But just because you have to accommodate the entire content in 1 page, please don't cramp all that information. Okay, so these were the points which we discussed. If you have any further doubts, you can just reach out to me through Google Classroom, or you can WhatsApp me. And the assignment I would like to give you after this discussion is, adding to the exercise what we did earlier, you have to submit a copy of your updated resume in the Google form link shared. I will share the Google form link in this video description itself. So, and also I will upload that in a CMS, so you can find that Google form link, and you have to submit an updated copy. Means you have to update your resume to your current education details also. So you should write you are pursuing your MBA. That is first thing. And each student should also predict at least 10 questions what you might be asked in an interview, only from resume, not general questions. If interviewer looks at your resume, what 10 questions he might ask? It may be technical, it may be HR, whatever, based on what you wrote. So try to predict those questions, and you have to list that questions. I also gave a provision to list those questions in the assignment itself. So you have to list those questions as well. So along with the document resume in text, this is the idea of submitting a resume in a video format. And in industry also, slowly this trend is starting, that companies started asking a video resume of a student. A video resume means students should present themselves not exceeding 1 minute, and post that video along with the assignment what is given to you, and the links I will share anyway. This worked really well for previous batches. To record a video, you can use your SWOT analysis, what we did in our previous classes. We have done SWOT, strengths, weakness, opportunities and threats. There we discussed multiple parameters also to assess self, and we also did resume. So by now you have all the information about you, what you are good at, what can work well for you in the interview. So what you have to do is you have to rearrange that content and frame it as like you can present yourself in 1 minute. It is a replica of an answer what you give to an interviewer if they ask a question. Many a times it happens. Most of the times many interviews start with the discussion, tell about yourself or introduce yourself. So this will become a very good practice for you, because it may not be in the first attempt you will be successful recording a video. You will take multiple attempts. So in that process your practice or the content will get registered in your memory. So this is one more idea what we shall include along with this video, along with this resume. So this is it for this class. All the links regarding assignments, class notes I will upload in Google Classroom. Assignment links also I will share in Google Classroom, and I will upload this video in YouTube, and in the video description I will give the link. Thank you.